And we're back on the Back Road Radio Show, and tonight's special guest are the Tillers out of Cincinnati, Ohio. It's a great band that I've been listening to extensively lately for the past couple of weeks. I've had their music in my car, and it hasn't really left since I got the discs. So the Tillers are comprised of Mike Oberst, Sean Guile, and Aaron Guile. And we're going to talk to them a little bit about what they've been up to, what's coming up, and just generally find out more about them. So, guys, welcome to the Back Road Radio Show.
Hi. Thanks, Andrew. Hello.
Well, let's just dive right into the questions. Obviously, you guys are from Cincinnati, as I mentioned. I know you started around August 2007, and all of you, to my understanding, have your roots in Cincinnati's kind of West Side punk and hardcore scene. And really, the first question I have, it may be kind of a cliche question for you guys at this point, but how do a bunch of guys go from playing punk and hardcore music and get into folk and bluegrass and Depression-era music and Woody Guthrie and all that?
Well, for me personally, when I got into punk rock, it seemed like I just wanted to find out more and more where it came from and the bands that started it and started the different areas of punk rock. You know, there's the hardcore and punk rock and oi and crust and all those, well, branches, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just digging back more and more and finding these bands that I felt like maybe more original, more like the founders of music and stuff like that, you know. So I'd always been digging for older music, I guess. And I happened to find a zine that was circulating around Cincinnati about 10 years ago called Polybra Punk. I think the guy's name was James Wolfe or something like that. You may still be able to find him. I haven't seen him. But in this particular issue, there was an article that he had written called Taking Back Country Music, and he was talking about all these musicians I had never heard of, Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger and Lead Belly and Joe Hill. So it was through a punk rock zine, pretty much, that I started to figure out about the people that we draw a lot of our music from now, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I know you guys were signed or are signed to Chestnut Tree Records in Bloomington, Indiana, which is my college hometown. How did that get arranged? I mean, was it something where you ended up playing in Bloomington and ran into some people from that label, or how did that work out?
Well, really, the guy who runs the label is a friend of mine. He has been for a long time. When the Tillers were coming about, he really, really liked us, and we really liked what he was doing with what he is doing with the label, and pretty early on he said, "Hey, you want to be a part of this?" You know, it's pretty much, it's a music collective, really. It's just a small group of musicians doing it themselves and supporting one another under one flag.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a small thing. You know, we kind of do that anyway with other bands that supporting and everything, but the label really helps us to have an avenue to sell some of our music online, and you know, of course, we help the other bands with booking, and when we're on the road, they put us up. When they're over here, we put them up. So that's how that works.
Well, you know, one thing I've noticed, and you guys talked a little bit about when I was researching you on your website, is that you tend to attack the songs a little bit harder than most folk artists do, which I like. It's a little more fire behind what's going on, and I think when most people think of folk music, a lot of times they think of like the Kingston Trio or something, which is fine all on its own, but for me that's always a little too studied, a little too academic. Did your punk background and your previous musical background, punk aside, just what you played before, does that have some effect on how you take on the songs now that you're making or that you're covering?
Yeah, definitely. This is Sean here, by the way. Yeah, we definitely, I think playing hard music has definitely changed our attack on our playing a little bit. You know, we're a little rough around the edges, so we don't play it quite as clean as a lot of the other people do, but we've always been into the, you know, sing loud, sing proud, and just be this high energy and just putting, you know, the dynamic and everything in there, and you can play loud and get quiet and stuff like that. I've always listened to a lot of old blues, and those guys play really hard.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got into all this stuff, was listening to old Delta blues and stuff, and they all had that loud, high, heavy attack and everything on everything. So that's just how I've always played, was real hard. And Mike, I don't know if Mike always played hard, but when he started playing with me, he kind of had to start stuff like that.
You know, I got both albums from you guys and started listening to them, and I just did it in order. And you know, put in Ludlow Street Rag and fell in love with it right away. So, I mean, what's kind of the story behind that? And in terms of, you know, the songs, were you going for a particular theme when you were putting that album together, or was it more just a collection of songs that you really just enjoyed playing and thought, hey, this is a good document of where we are right now? I mean, what's the background on that?
We had been together for about 3 or 4 months at the time we recorded that album, I think. And it was, you know, we were a brand new band, and a lot of times I think that shows through, but I hope in a good way. We were still pretty new to each other and everything, and those were just a lot of the songs that we were really into at the time. And Mike had written a couple of songs, and we wrote one song together, and we put those on there too. And it was just kind of we needed to have something to put out there, and we just had a lot of old songs that we were liking. That's how we got together in the first place, was just the fondness of the old songs and everything. And then we started just really getting the groove down and everything, and started writing more together and liking what we were doing with that. So kind of leaned that way for a little while, and that's how the second album kind of came out, was how we evolved into what we are now, and just sticking to the old-time stuff and really cutting our teeth on old songs. We still learn tons of old songs, and still not, you know, scratch the surface of songs. We want all the old songs we want to learn, and started like, you know, writing more together and coming up with different stuff we were into doing and different styles of things that were coming out in our writing. That was kind of how what the second album is more, I think, what we've evolved into.
Well, yeah, that's usually how it works. It's a constant change or evolution. So, well, actually, I want to play the title track off of your first album. That'll be our first one that we're going to queue up, Ludlow Street Rag. And I know that's an original you guys put together, correct?
Yeah, Styles got one.
It's a great tune. I'm not familiar with Cincinnati. I'm assuming Ludlow Street is somewhere in Cincinnati. Is there kind of a background story on that, or?
Yeah, we when me and Mike first got together, it was just the two of us kind of for a little while, and we would go to anywhere. Well, usually it was Ludlow Street, and sometimes Finley Market and stuff like that, and we would just play on the street, kind of for the fun of it, and play for tips, and that was kind of where we first started kind of getting our name out there, really. People kind of saw us on the street, and then we started playing down the street at the bar, and everyone was like, oh, yeah, I saw you guys on the street. And it kind of started playing on the bars all the time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here they are, the Tillers, with the title track off of their first album. It's called Ludlow Street Rag. Came out in 2008, and it is right here for you on the Back Road Radio Show.
My lady, she left, she did me wrong. Sick of this here banjo ringing all night long. My fingers always hurting coming home with the bread, but all she got was the crumbs is what she said. Come on, you good people, throw your dimes at my feet. I'll play you up a song here on the lower street. If I could run a little faster, I would catch that train. Since Cincinnati blues have got me out again. I grew up on the west end of town, up and down the river, just rambling around. In the morning you can find me as a factory hand. In the evening I'm a wailing like a kid, oh man. Come on, you good people, throw
Art and Music Pub is the place to hear great live music 6 nights a week, see unique pieces from local artists, have a drink, or enjoy a meal. We offer a constantly changing beer selection, many great wines, and a full liquor selection for your enjoyment. We are now open early Tuesday through Friday at 5 p.m., and we offer $1.50 domestic cans from 5 to 7. Locals only, Art and Music Pub. You don't have to be a local to come in, but you'll be one by the time you leave. Located at 2449 East 56th Street or online at localsonlyindy.com.
And we're back on the Backroad Radio Show. You guys are in luck because tonight, via the phone, we have the Tillers on the line, and they're giving us an interview talking about what they've been up to, what's going on now, and what they have lined up for the future. Well, guys, I know you had talked about it a little bit with By the Signs, your second album. I'd like to play another song off of that coming up here pretty soon. I know you had mentioned that it was kind of an evolution of where you have kind of gotten to now. Again, with like really the title By the Signs. Is there anything to that, or again, is it just more of a document of kind of where you are at the moment?
This may be the most difficult question to answer.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Oh, By the Signs comes from a type of planting that Appalachian people would use. Some folks believe in planting their crops by the phases of the moon, by the different signs, and planting by the signs is how that's called, I guess. And I do a lot of, I guess my big hobby is planting and growing and sustainable food crops here at my humble abode on the west end of town. But one thing in my reading and studies that I read about was Appalachian folks planting by the signs, and actually in one of the Foxfire books that are put out. You know, it's things like that and things within these books that are fading away and being forgotten, much like a lot of the music that we're playing, you know. So, you know, I think there are a lot of people playing this music right now and really breathing new life into it and re-presenting it to our generation and even generations before us who might not know much about it. But, you know, these things are easily lost within the popular culture of today, and the easiness of popular music being presented to people, young kids, and never growing up digging into their roots. So it's within that, you know, it kind of speaks of our music and of cultures and bygone days and holding on to things that really are valuable and important and are the fabric of all of us. So.
Well, here. I support you in that endeavor myself, so that's good to hear. Well, we've got another song, and it's the one, as promised, off of By the Signs. It's George Street Beat, and another song that's just great. I picked it because it's got such a nice jazz influence to it. What's the story behind that? Again, is George Street a place in Cincinnati that had a thriving jazz scene? Kind of what's the background there?
Well, we only write songs about streets. Obviously, America. George Street is a street and that was around in Cincinnati. It's kind of like the hot spot, the place to be, the red light district. There you could find blues men playing out there and doing their thing, and all the dirty, rotten stuff going down. So they say, but I found out about George Street through a book called Going to Cincinnati, A History of the Blues and the Queen City. It's written by Stephen C. Tracy. In this book, they talk about the early days in Cincinnati and the blues history here, and some different performers like Stovepipe Number 9 and Kid Cole, Robert Coleman. I think they were the same people. And just kind of the history of our blues scene that a lot of people forget about. That's not really talked much about in our local history. I heard from a friend that a part of George Street still exists, and I'd like to figure out where that is. Maybe we'll play a show on the tiny bit of George Street.
The one block that's left.
Yeah. Yeah, I think most of it's covered up by highways now. But that's pretty much what the George Street beat is about.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can't really introduce it any better than that, but it's George Street Beat by the Tillers right here on the Backroad Radio Show.
2, 3, 4. Street, and the people really move their feet. See all the fellas go around and round with the ladies downtown to the George Street beat. Through the dark and narrow alley, no time to dilly or to dally. And you know that when the West End calls like a steamboat boss, you got to go, go, go. Now that stovepipe, he really blows down there. And your kid, man, will shake your rocking chair, shake it just right there. Well, you don't know what you're missing, so just stop here and listen. It sure gets hot in the kitchen when you shake that George Street beat. Well, long ago there was a rat road up to 3rd and east of Sycamore, and in the evening every roustabout would surely step right out to where the red lights glow. Beneath the cover of the moonlight, it's when the blues will make you feel alright. And you better get your best good gal or meet old Mary Pearl by the picket's light. You might. Now that stovepipe, it really blows down there. And your kid, man, will shake your rocking chair, shake it just right there. Oh, well, you don't know what you're missing, so just stop here and listen. It sure gets hot in the kitchen when you shake that George Street beat. But anymore it surely can't be found. All things they rust, decay, the sound it makes its way back to the underground. Beneath the cover of the moonlight, when the river's rolling just right, you might hear that whistle blow like a 6th Street moan in your Queen City night. Now that stovepipe, it really blows down there. And your kid, man, will shake your rocking chair, shake it just right there. Well, you don't know what you're missing, so just stop here and listen. It sure gets hot in the kitchen when you shake that George Street beat. You shake that George Street beat. You shake that George Street beat. Shake that George Street beat.
Spencer Stadium Tavern, a neighborhood tavern for the whole city, with craft beer, good food, and great music. We're always in search of the freshest beer out there, and our drafts always rotate. Featuring Sun King Brewery now on 3 draft lines at the tavern, we also sell growlers to go. Wednesday nights are a $3 pint night, and there are more great specials the rest of the week. Spencer Stadium Tavern in the shadow of Lucas Oil Stadium at the corner of West and McCarty, 802 Southwest Street, Indianapolis, or online at spencerstavern.com. And remember, Elizabeth Cook returns to the tavern June 4th at 8:30 p.m. Tickets are $10 and more information can be found at spencerstavern.com.
And we're back on the Backroad Radio Show. We are lucky enough to have the Tillers all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio, live via the phone with us. Guys, good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah.
That is, by the way, Mike, Sean, and Aaron, and they play a wide collection of instruments from banjos, guitars, upright basses, you name it. There's some harmonica in there, and you've heard it all tonight on the past two songs that we've played. But guys, I want to, it's talking about Cincinnati and some other things. We've kind of covered that, but I want to find out what you've got going on right now. I mean, you've been on tour a lot lately. I mean, when I saw you at the Melody Inn here in Indy, that was in late February, and you've crisscrossed at least the eastern half of the country since then. I mean, what else do you have coming up, really, for the rest of this year, or at least this summer?
Well, this summer we've got some festivals. We're playing the Forecastle Festival down in Louisville. We're playing the Hullabaloo Festival in Louisville also.
Mm-hmm.
A nice little festival that some of our friends put on, the Whispering Beard Folk Festival, which is kind of a homegrown festival that started out as a backyard party one year, and last year kind of blew up a little bit bigger, and this year, they want to keep it intimate, but still want to get as many people as they want out there.
Yeah. And I saw you're playing at the Ohio River Valley Folk Festival in Madison, I think, later on. Speaking of Indiana gigs, is that correct?
Yeah. We're playing that. That's going to be a really nice festival. We're also playing the next day. We're playing the Brooklyn Folk Festival.
That's going to be a drive.
Full drive, on a Saturday afternoon. We're actually at the festival with Doc Watson.
Oh, wow, that's something.
In August. Todd, North Carolina.
That's a feather in the cap.
Yeah.
Well, I had seen that you guys were going to play with Willie Nelson. I was sorry to hear that he tore his rotator cuff playing tennis or something.
Badminton.
Well, what projects do you have kind of cooking, on the back burner right now? I mean, are you working on another album for this year or next year, or is that still kind of just an idea off in the distance?
We just kind of started writing a little bit more, learning some new songs. We haven't really. This past couple of months have been kind of a whirlwind of events, so it's been kind of hard to get back to really practicing.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you guys keep snowballing in terms of the gigs that are coming in and the number and the quality of them. Like I said, I was really impressed when I saw you guys play at the Melody. That's why I picked up your sticker and got in touch with you. So now I did a lot of my research on your website. So why don't you let the people know what it is and where they can find out more about you?
If you're out there in internet land, you can type in www.the-tillers.com and check out our new website. We finally have a real website that's not one of the social networking sites. But we also have those. There's the MySpace and Facebook ones. So, but check out the website. You can also go to chestnuttreerecords.com and find us there and order an album there if you like, and check out the other bands.
Well, I as a radio show host, I'm also a fan. Listening to your music got me converted, so I would highly recommend to anybody out there that likes Depression-era folk music, good bluegrass, you name it, especially with kind of a modern take on things, a little more intense than what you're probably used to. Go pick up their albums. Go see these guys at the show. It's worth your while. We're going to wrap up the show here. So we're going to outro the show with a tune of yours. I got to say a few thank yous. I want to thank WITT for having us on the air for another week. I want to thank my producer, Deacon Tim Plunkett, for manning the controls and making me sound like I know what I'm doing from day to day and week to week. I also want to thank the Tillers for being on the show. Guys, it's really appreciated. And we hope to have you, maybe the next time you guys are up around this way, get in touch with us. We have a studio here. We'd love to have you in to maybe record a few songs that aren't on your albums, and maybe we could air those as part of another interview or something. Great.
We'd love to come back and be on Backroad Radio for sure.
It'd be great to have you. So we are going to outro with a tune called, I believe it's Blackout. And I was just, really moved by the lyrics that are in the song. I just think, especially the bridge portion. I guess if you could call it that, where you talk about the old folks sit and reminisce of the time. What's the story on that? Was this written during a blackout? Is it that straightforward?
Well, it actually was. we had a blackout here, and well, yeah, we had a hurricane. Wow. And but the year before we'd had a really bad drought, and the trees got very dry, and then during the hurricane, they all came tumbling down, and put our little town out of commission for about a week. So, we just had a good time washing my clothes on the back porch and watching the neighbors scurry around for their alternators and bags of ice, and ended up writing a song about the blackout. A sensitive Armageddon song.
Well, it's a good tune, and we're going to finish up the show with it right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a song by the Tillers. It's called Blackout. It's off of their 2009 album By the Signs, and it's right here on the Backroad Radio Show. We'll see you next week.
Celebrate, the oil gets gone, there's no lights to generate. I've been sitting here so blue, so I wouldn't mind to spend this blackout with you. Now some folks scared to death, worrying that the end is near, but us two could start something, me and you right here. If you got the notion I do, well, I wouldn't mind to spend this blackout with you. Baby, when the blackout comes, we ain't got nowhere to run. If you got nothing to do, well, I wouldn't mind to spend this blackout with you. Slows down and we come to find the things we need. Baby, I'd love to find you sitting next to me. We could light a candle for two, and I wouldn't mind to spend this blackout with you. Now the moon is high and the stars